believe that corporate culture, once it's established, is very difficult to change. I believe it was Jack Welch who said after 10 years at GE that maybe in another 10 years that he would be halfway to changing the corporate culture to what he thought it should be for GE. This is when he came in and made his speech about a guiding strategic principle that would cover all employees and what they did on a day-to-day basis without a continual feedback mechanism. And I believe that that is the kind of culture that we really need that all leaders, all CEOs should strive to achieve. I think a recent author called it a level 5 leader. This is someone who is fiercely resolute in what he demands or she demands, but is somewhat humble, who is willing and says and really means it's a team, that for whom conversations are not how the wife, how the kids, how about them Yankees, but they are sincere and they do take time. All of this is about relationships. And let's face it that when you're dealing with consumers, whether you have a service you're selling or a product you're selling, one thing that they buy in addition to everything else is connections. And relationships, business is relationships. And relationships within and external to a company are extremely important. And the tempo and attitude that the CEO sets, the leaders set, the board sets, are what will essentially drive that corporate culture in a direction that gives things like regulations that are sticky, they're tough, they're nettlesome, and sometimes they're a bother. But there's a reason for them. And there are other areas, of course, as well that all drive the corporate culture. But a leader, a strong leader, as opposed to a strong manager, can make those things happen. And I believe in a smaller company, as I mentioned before, the leadership focus and emphasis is probably more important than the management, even though you've still got to do the managing things. You've got to pay attention to your balance sheet. You've got to pay attention to your income statements. You've got to pay attention to your cost of goods sold. You have to pay attention to all of the usual things, but you definitely cannot give leadership short shrift, or the company will drift and in ways that come back to haunt you.